Welcome to another edition of No Veteran Left Behind USA's Warrior Wisdom and Wellness. Now here's your host, Diane Young.
Hello everyone, I'm Diane Young, a Marine veteran and the host of the Warrior Wellness and Wisdom podcast. And I'm excited to be here today with my friend George Juan Snyder. He is an Army veteran and he is here to share resources with us about the Center for Veteran Issues. So welcome, George.
Hi, Dan.
Thank you for being here and sharing information about CVI, we'll call it, to make it a shorter podcast. How about that?
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
So thank you. I appreciate your service in the Army, and I'd like to welcome you to introduce yourself a bit. Tell us how you got involved with Center for Veterans Issues.
Sure. I was in the Army for a short period of time, honorable discharge, and when I got out, unfortunately, I wasn't aware of any services that were available to me. I always thought veterans programs were for veterans who retired, had their full 20 in, and everyone else was just out of luck. Throughout life happens. I eventually got to the point where I actually was in need of services, and I was able to find CVI, the Center for Veterans Issues, and they were able to help me during that time. From my previous backgrounds working with the state, volunteering for St. Vincent de Paul and other organizations, they thought I would be a good applicant to work in their employment section for Center for Veterans Issues. So that's how I ended up here today.
Nice. I was able to use the vocational rehab program myself when I retired from the Marine Corps. And I wasn't fortunate enough, I guess, to get that inside referral.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Okay.
That's good connection, though. I'm glad to hear that.
Sure.
And I really am grateful for my experience there with the voc rehab program. All right. So exactly, how does the job resources, how does that work for the CVI?
Sure. The employment section of CVI is called the HVRP program. Stands for the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. Now, people hear the word homeless, and sometimes they're taken aback. It's also homeless, but also at risk of homeless veterans. We work very closely with our housing section, the SSVF program. So once they're housed, and that is a saying that we have at our office, housing first. Once they're housed and secure, then to prevent them from falling down through the cracks again and becoming homeless once again, we're able to help them with employment assistance. We set them up with what we call an IEP, Individualized Employment Plan. We work in their resume. A lot of times works on their interview skills, give them job leads, and I'm able to give them supportive services. For instance, transportation, bus fares, gas cards, work boots, work clothes, certificates for them to buy other things at Walmart just to help them along their journey. One thing, and if there's anyone who's been in that boat, you've probably heard stories of someone who maybe hasn't had a job for a while, gets a job, shows up for work for 2 days, then you don't hear of him again. Call him up and you find out he didn't have gas in his car, he can't get to work anymore. We provide transportation expenses up until your first paycheck, so that doesn't happen. One of the many benefits that our program can give to veterans.
Wow, that's priceless. And I understand that you go to a lot of the employment, the hiring fairs, and you're able to advocate basically to employers for hiring veterans.
Yes, when I do talk to most of these employers, their eyes actually widen when I mention that we have veterans that are looking to get hired. They know through their experience that a veteran, more often than not, is a better candidate. I did some research and found out that actually veterans have a 67% higher retention rate over the civilian population. So less turnover means more savings to the employers.
That's priceless. Thank you for doing that work, because my experience was that employers weren't really sure what to do with, a 20-year veteran 20 years ago. So it's good to see that more information is readily available for the employers. And there are certain advantages that are available to them for hiring veterans, aren't there?
Yes, most prevalent one, it would be the WOTC, Work Opportunity Tax Credit. Employers can receive up to $9,600 back for during the first 6 months of a veteran's work with them. So and most of our veterans would qualify underneath their program because they would either be displaced or formerly homeless veterans.
Wow, that's priceless. And then you support them also with your job club, don't you? Talk about that.
Sure. Every Thursday we have what we call Job Club at our Milwaukee office, the main branch on 34th in Wisconsin. And we have veterans show up who are looking for employment. In addition, we usually have employers there. We also have agencies who do training, like truck driving, or there's an organization called WRTP Big Step that can get them OSHA 30 licenses. We're working with someone to get a class for forklift licenses. Also, we've had services where we've had banks come in and give them credit repair advice, interview skills, resume writing, anything to give that little extra push to make it easier for a veteran to get a job.
Wow, that's priceless. There's a lot of information here. How long did you say you've been working with CVI?
I've only actually been with CVI for about 7 months now.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
And you're loving it, I think, huh?
yes, it's as a veteran myself, it is rewarding. I do know the benefits of it, and thanks to you and others like you, it's important to get the word out. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for veterans who think that they can't qualify for services, know that there are services out there that they can take advantage of.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding us on that. I know that to be true because I interact with a lot of people from CVI at the Veteran Resource Fairs. So I know that you are on deck and looking for connections and quick to share the resources. So I appreciate that about you all. And you work particularly with people from Milwaukee and Waukesha, right?
Yes, our program is funded by the Department of Labor, and right now our grant is only for Milwaukee and Waukesha counties, which is the biggest population in southeastern Wisconsin anyways. And it's actually works out pretty well for those of you who know the area. There's a lot of employment in Waukesha right now, and I'm able to work with veterans, have them transport if they could, both from Waukesha to Milwaukee and vice versa. So it's actually been quite successful getting people employed that otherwise would have had some barriers to them.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for what you're doing. And we'll have this on the slide, but if you need to contact the CVI, Center for Veterans Issues, that number is 414-345-3917. Please share this information with the other veterans that you know so that they can benefit from all of the resources that are available. Now, before we run out of time, George, is there anything else that you wanted to share?
Like I said earlier, our saying at the office is housing first. We will get you housed and then get you employed. And another phrase that I've heard at the office that I like is that we give a hand out, we give a hand up, not a hand out.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because I know it's hard sometimes as veterans to ask for help because we're usually the ones giving the help.
Correct.
And so it does make a difference when they realize that they have the opportunity to pay it forward and make a difference and have a rewarding life because they got a hand up.
Correct.
And then they're able to pay that forward. So thanks again, George. And thank you all for watching this episode of Warrior Wisdom and Wellness. And I'm Diane Young, and I look forward to seeing you at a Veteran Resource Fair soon. And thank you in advance for sharing this information. Be well.
The Center for Veterans Issues, better known as CVI, has programs for veterans to help them gain employment. Things that help, such as how to write a resume and practice sessions for interviewing techniques to gain employment. They work with homeless veterans and those who may be at risk of homelessness. by first getting them established in home environments and then maintain them to move to a job-related environment. For more information on these programs, you can contact George Snyder at the number displayed on your screen.